there, my name is Sandra and I'm in my craft room today and I'm going to show you how to make a wonderful wooden puzzle, a wooden jigsaw puzzle. It's easy, it's quick and it looks really professional. I'm going to be making it with my xTool S1.
Okay, so the first thing you might want to do if you're going to make a jigsaw puzzle is to get yourself a picture to use. And in this particular case, I decided to have a use of the AI, which is included in the xTool creative space. So you click on this button here for AI and it opens up another screen. And I want to go to laser art. And now I decided this time I would choose 3D because when I actually picked this picture originally, I was going to laser it onto a tile. I didn't end up doing that, but that's what I intended to do. So I went to 3D and in here I typed a certain amount of information. And in fact, you can see a couple of images that I got, and this is the one that I've used for my puzzle. So I put in teddy bear, picnic, seaside, bucket, spades, sandcastles, teas, sandwiches, cakes. And it provided me with a really, really nice image to use. Downloaded it and resized it to 20 by 20 centimeters. Print it onto sticker paper. Now this stuff you can get in A4 sheets, which is what I do when I create my own stickers for any reason. And so it already has adhesive on it. So what I'm going to do is to make a puzzle on my xTool S1 using this picture and an SVG file which I have got and I've put into xTool Creative Space. So let's go over to Creative Space and see how I'm going to manipulate this. So I have my design in xTool Creative Space, and what I've done is I've got this puzzle piece design. Now, if you're going to be importing one, make sure it's only got single lines. If it's got double lines, the curve is too much when it comes to a laser cutter, and it'll be very loose. You only want it cut once. So if I click on this, and I can ungroup it. Right, this outer line is a frame. Now, because this is a puzzle for a relatively young child, I decided to put a frame on so I can have a wooden frame with the puzzle pieces fitting inside. You don't have to do it. I've just chosen that particular method. So what I'm going to do at the moment is select that and go to ignore output, basically. I don't want it to cut it at the moment. Now this, I want to cut, not score. So set it to cut. I want 3mm basswood plywood. Okay, so I've got that. I've already done my distance sensing. That's a straightforward thing to do. You just click on that over your product and it'll do the distance sensing for you. So all I want to do is cut these pieces out. Now, the picture is only here for reference. I'm going to get rid of that because I really don't want it in there. It's distracting. I can cut this out. Can't do it here at the moment because it's not in the right place. Obviously, I need to move my laser. But I'm going to cut that out without putting the picture on. Now, the reason for that is I'm going to cut it out with the wood setting. And then I'm going to select all this lot and I'm going to put it over to a different setting. I'm going to select it, okay, and I'm going to go for user defined. And when I do user defined, I can then set my cut settings to whatever I like. And I've got Kiss Cut sticker already put in here, so that is what I would choose. So I'm going to be cutting the wood first, leave it in place, put the sticker, i.e. the picture, over the wood where it needs to be without taking it away from the bed. And then I'm going to set it to cut it again, but to put it on paper setting, the Kiss Cut paper. So I've moved my laser head, physically moved it, and I'm just going to put this up here so it's in the right place. Now, as I said, this is not on output. This here is on output. Basswood. There we go. That's what it's set to. So let's go to process. This should give me what I'm actually going to do, which is correct. Go to start. Yes, I know that already, thank you. And it's ready to go. So using Glad Press and Seal, just placing it over this while it was still on my laser cutter meant that I could pick it up off the bench in one piece, which is quite nice to be able to do rather than picking off individual puzzle pieces. So you can just peel this straight off. It won't affect the paper that you've got your design on. It's very, very gentle. What it will do is it will pick up any odd traces of soot that you've got on there, and it will remove those for you. So we now have a puzzle which is perfectly cut out, and I can just remove the frame if I don't want to use that because it's been used by an older child or something like that. Don't have to use the frame, but with a very young child, frame's quite handy because it allows them to put the corners and the edges in and note they're getting them the right size. Take these apart. You can see it's perfectly lined up with the edges of the picture. It's not a problem, and they are a good close fit like a normal jigsaw puzzle would be. And that's probably because most normal jigsaw puzzles are most likely cut out by laser of some description or other. So you can obviously use whatever picture you like to print. You don't have to use teddy bears or whatever. You could make it a family photo if you want. Now this particular file for the puzzle piece I got from Creative Fabrica, but what I will say is that you want to check when you are downloading a puzzle file that it is for laser cutting, because this was cut in lines like that and an outer edge. Okay, I've got an example here where it was cut for paper cutting, and these pieces are really loose because they had double lines. Each piece had 2 lines going around it. So when they're cut, they're so loose, they just don't fit together properly. It's hopeless as a puzzle. So do make sure when you're downloading a puzzle file that it is just the one line, or else you'll have wasted your money. Now this was listed as a laser cutting puzzle file, and there were other varieties of puzzle cuts in this with greater or less numbers of pieces. But there we go, isn't that absolutely brilliant? And it was all cut out on my xTool S1. I'm having so much fun with this. And if you want to, of course, you could personalise the frame. So you could put a child's name on it, all that sort of stuff if you wanted to. I've got some little bits of the design still left on here, and I can just peel off those little bits. Now, one thing that I would say is when I was putting my design down over my puzzle pieces, I would have done better to make my picture a little bit bigger than my puzzle to give me a bit of wriggle room in accuracy of placement. So bear that in mind. I was lucky, very lucky, that I managed to place this that accurately, because this is 200 by 200 and so was my picture, more or less. I think I made the picture like 201, so there wasn't much wriggle room on that at all. And the other thing is, when I had finished cutting out the wood, I actually attempted to just wipe it down to get rid of any soot. Don't do that. Don't do it, because there is a little bit of wriggle room obviously in these, and they can shift while they are in the frame. It doesn't look like it now, but they did actually move very slightly within the frame. So you can see there's a tiny bit of wriggle room. And of course, if they do wriggle too much, then you risk getting your paper cuts not lined up with your wood cuts, and that would be awful. But this has worked out perfectly, so I'm really, really pleased. The xTool S1 made a very easy job of making this puzzle. So that's it for me today. Thanks very much for watching the video. Subscribe, put your comments down below, and hit that like button. I'll see you again soon. Take care.